Please give it back when you decide to become my friend.
このほうきそなたとの友情の架け橋となるや否か
The broom.
しばらく預からせてもらいそれを迷う越を楽しませてもらおうぞ
When the witch snapped her fingers, the broom for which I had searched for so long fell out of a hole in the air, lying between the fingers she had just snapped.
それではさらばだそなたとの遊戯退屈はしなかったぞぜひまた遊ぼうぞ
Alright, bye, bye, Beatrice? If you're my friend, that is.
猫はネズミをいたぶるとき友情を育んでからいたぶるというのか
The witch faded away. Alright, well, that was an interesting episode that happened there. Gop. As she did, my mind's eyes slowly closed. When I returned to my body, I felt suddenly tired and let out the breath I'd been holding. Of course, when I turned around, there was no one to be seen. I couldn't feel the witch's presence anywhere anymore. It had gotten very dark by this time. I decided to leave the chapel. I mean, there's no point in searching for the small broom any longer. Not until the witch decides to give it back. I went out of the chapel. The chapel key had been left unlocked. I used it to lock the door. Okay, good. It is a good thing that it didn't become like a prank like last time. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, it reminds me of that one time in episode 4 when we seen Maria locked out of her house. This would be like an inversion of that, a bit, being locked inside a chapel. Again, something tells me that what is happening here with Yasuda is gonna reflect a little bit of what is happening with Maria. You know, transferring the pain through generations and such. In a similar fashion to what we've seen with Beatrice and Kasumi. In that sense, I wouldn't actually be surprised if we're actually gonna see Beatrice like anytime soon because of this. What am I going to do about the small broom? And there's nothing I can do. I cannot even blame the witch. I must acknowledge that I'm responsible for giving the witch a chance. I happened to glance downwards. A small broom lying there by my feet. Oh. Okay. It was the broom I had been searching for all this time. Don't tell me. That it will be swallowed by a dark hole the instant I bend over to pick it up. No. This is a sign from the witch. A sign that she acknowledges me as a friend. Oh. It was that easy, I guess. I picked it up. Oh. I am one, yet many! Okay.
この島に来て初めてできた友人はどうやら人間ではないようだった。しかし思い返せばそれは当然。魔女の島でできる友人がどうして魔女でなかろうか。
Which, you know, it really makes you question again the whole thing with Shannon and this entire thing. Like, I see Shannon as, well, less of a personality of Yasuda, but more as a imaginary friend at this point that eventually Yasuda will turn into Shannon at some point. Someone that Yasuda wants to become. Or something like that, that Shannon is like a model. in that sense, it really makes me question how come Shannon is not Yasuda's first friend. Whether we're talking about Shannon actually being like a completely separate person from Yasuda at that point, or imaginary. I mean, I actually call them imaginary friends, and yet Gapi is the first friend? So I guess this means that Yasuda, whether we're talking about a real separate Shannon that is also 6 years old at that point, who lived there, Yasuda didn't see them as a friend, despite the fact that they've been talking to each other, they've been living in the same room and such, and Shannon, well, in my eyes, she's basically like the sweetest of hearts that I've ever seen in my entire life. How can he not be a friend with Shannon, who would more than likely understand you better than anyone around here? And not just in a realistic sense, but in a magical sense too. And yet Gap is your first friend. Huh. It is interesting, like, no matter what perspective you are going for, whether we are talking realistic aspect over here or magical aspects, it's kind of interesting. Like, how does Yasuda view Shannon here? If not out of admiration or someone to become into or stuff like that. I don't know.
これが我とベアトリーチェの初めての出会いである。
Unless the definition of friend is a bit different here in Claire's and Yasuda's mind. We're not talking about an actual friend in a realistic sense, but more like a friend in a Okay, I guess I'll think about it a little bit for a while.
しかしながら勘のいい諸見はお気づきのように、これは本当のベアトリーチェとの出会いではない。
Not the real Beatrice. Yeah.
我がベアトリーチェと呼ぶその魔女は後に他の名で呼ばれることとなる。
Yeah, definitely. But what caught my interest is that, okay, Claire says the witch I then called Beatrice will later be known by another name. So I guess we have a little bit of a confirmation that Claire is going under, like, Claire is also Yasuda in that sense. Okay. A little bit of a confirmation, I guess, from Claire in that sense. I am questioning, like, how does Claire play into this entire thing?
しかし人ならざるものであることに違いはない。そして人ならざるものに縁を持つことは人ならざる世界への縁を持つことともなる。我は未だこれより六軒島で数奇なる運命をたどることになるとは知る由もなかったのである。
ほんと。ヤスはどんくさいだけじゃなく、よく物をなくしたわね。なのに、さも私はなくしてません。確かに置いたのに誰かが取ったんです。みたいな目つきをしてて、本当にイライラしたわ。
集中力のない子だった。無意識でぼんやり行動してるから自分の行動がいい加減になる。
でも最初のうちだけですよ。途中からは注意するようになって、そういうこともなくなって立派になりましたし。
そうだっけ？まあその程度できて当たり前なんだけどね。
その当たり前ができるようになるのが成長というものですとも。
Learning to do things that everyone can do is part of growing up.
皆さんだって何事も最初から要領が良かったわけではないでしょう。
Yeah, be a little bit more sensitive. Stakes.
というか、要領が悪かったら後ろ宮家には推薦されないわ。
私たちはエリートなのよ。幼いからできないとか、そんなの言い訳にならないわけ。
だな。ヤスが成長とともに要領を覚えるなら、成長してから後ろ宮家へ来ればよかっただけの話。
そんな、一生懸命学校とお仕事を両立させて頑張ってるのに。
I mean, let's not forget that she was very young. Did the Yasu come to Rokkenjima to serve by her own hands? No, she was put there by somebody else to work. I mean, when you girls started here, you already had some experience. Yasuda is struggling to gain that experience that you girls already had. So, I mean, you tell me that at that age, you were much better than Yasuda was at this age?
みんなちょっと厳しすぎると思います。
その厳しい中から選ばれたのが私たちでしょ。私たちに甘やかす義理はないわ。つくづくヤスってなんであんなどんくさいのに選ばれたのかさっぱりだわ。
福音の家の誰もが憧れる後ろ宮家使用人への推薦。厳しい選考をくぐり抜けて栄光を勝ち取った先輩使用人たちから見れば、ヤスはどうして推薦を得られたのか不思議なくらいいろいろと要領が悪かった。
Yeah, well, if you are having problems with that, go to the house director, not Yasu herself. Don't be harsh towards her. Be harsh towards the house director instead.
もちろん年相応には努力している。しかしそれに納得できない先輩使用人たちはいつしかヤスにことあるごとに小意地悪に接するようになるのである。後ろ宮家での生活に慣れはしてもいまだ友人の一人も作れない。いや、いることにはいるが、それは人間ではないのだ。第3章、虜になる日々。
そういう時もありますね。忙しい時に限って。妖精さんがいたずらでもしてるんじゃないかしら。
It's a witch pulling pranks on me. I mean, I know I put it right there. All I did was glance around a bit, and it disappeared. The witch pranked me again. I left my master key behind. Madame found out, and I got in a lot of trouble. Why, when I always put my master key back in my pocket after I use it, why was it in a place like that? And this is the third time it's happened. The first two times, I realized that it wasn't in my pocket. I managed to find it before anyone found out. But the third time, Madame found it. I was really mad and frustrated with that witch in the red dress.
ベアトリーチェ様のいたずらでは困りましたね。でも魔女が相手ならおまじないでなんとかできるかもしれませんよ。
A charm? Kamasana-san started fishing through the kitchen cupboards, saying, "Now where did that get to?" The thing she finally found and brought me was a kite string. She stretched it out for me to see, then used a knife to cut off a 50-centimeter piece.
これの端に鍵をくくりつけ、反対の端はポケットのボタンのところにでも目立たないようにくくりつけておきましょう。これは雲の糸のおまじないなのですよ。
Oh. Oh. The spiderweb charm. Spiderwebs. Like the ones the evil spirits of Rokkenjima fear. Okay. Yet again, we're good. I mean, like, okay, I am thinking of that time when Shannon was told by Kumasawa about the spiderweb thing and the evil spirits and such. Therefore, it makes me think that, well, Yasuda is Shannon and inhabiting all these personalities. Therefore, this is the origin of when Shannon was told by Kumasawa about the evil spirits and the spiderweb. Only with the exception that at this point, it wasn't exactly Shannon, it was actually Yasuda. Or, yeah, I mean, it is possible for Kumasawa to be telling like multiple people about the spiderwebs and the evil spirits, so it isn't that much of an evidence, but it piles up.
そう、よく覚えてますね。この島の雲の糸には霊力が宿っていて、強い魔除けの力を持っていると言われていました。ほら、こうしてピーンと張ると雲の糸のようでしょ。これで雲の糸が苦手なベアトリーチェ様はもういたずらができないというわけですよ。
That does make sense. It really does look like a spiderweb when pulled right. It really does look like a spiderweb when pulled tight. Since Kumasawa-san says so, it must have some pretty strong evil repelling power. I can just ask her to make several of these kite strings for me. And then I can tie them to everything I don't want to lose. But clearly, that won't be very practical. And I have strings all over me. What about things I cannot keep tied to me? Like pencils and erasers.
そういう時は別のおまじないがありますよ。
I mean, you can use like a needle with a string, and for example, for an eraser, you just make like a hole in the eraser with Am I forgetting the word like after a second of saying it? What was it? String with needle. There we go. Needle. Wow. I'm already forgetting that word after. Oh my god. Okay, so you just make the needle go through the eraser, and then you tie the string to the eraser that way. About the pencil though,
それは鉛筆さんや消しゴムさんにお家を作ってあげるおまじないですよ。
Mr. Pencil and Mr. Eraser. Make a house. You mean build a roof and a bed and stuff?
お家を作るのではなく、お家を決めてあげるのですよ。例えば、このタコ糸を切った包丁さんも、僕もうお家に帰るって。寂しがり屋さんだからすぐにお家に帰りたくなってしまうの。だからお家じゃないところに置いてしまうと迷子になってしまってクスンクスン泣いてしまうんですよ。ほら、こんなところに置きっぱなしにしたから包丁さんが寂しくて泣き出してしまいましたよ。
Poor thing. We need to get Mr. Knife home.
包丁さんのお家はここですよ。ほら、家族の包丁さんたちがみんな待っているお家ですよ。ママ、ただいま、おかえりって。ね?
Yeah. Kumasawa-san returned the knife to the knife holder under the sink. Even though she had done something so ordinary, I felt slightly moved, as though the lost little knife had finished his adventure and finally returned home. Once he slid into the spot he was supposed to be in, everyone in the Knife family was together again, and they all started talking happily. Then Kumasawa-san said we should give them their privacy, and shut the door. Hold on a second, I'm thinking of like something here, like a reference to something here. Like the description that I'm hearing right over here about the knife going to the other knives, going home, and we should give them privacy and shut the door. It's like a microcosm of the Golden Land. Have everyone gathered in the Golden Land as their new home, and give them their privacy and shut the door, in the sense that nobody else in the world should know about what happened on Rokkenjima. It is the Rokkenjima family business and their business alone what happened here, and nobody should interrupt that business. Something like that. I don't know if I'm making any sense right over here, but yeah, it kind of makes me think of that a little bit.
魔女に隠されてしまって困るものはきっと寂しがり屋さんなんですよ。だから魔女が楽しいところに連れて行ってあげようねって言うと喜んでついて行ってしまうんです。そうならないためにはどうしたらいいでしょうね。
Take them home right away.
そうですよ。寂しがり屋だからすぐに魔女について行ってしまういけない子たちなんですよ。だからすぐにお家に返してあげないと。ほら、さっきタコ糸で縛ったままそこに置きっぱなしのマスターキーさんも早くポケットのお家に帰りたいってくすんくすん泣いてますよ。
Sob song. I'm lonely. The voice of the lonely Master Key finally reached my ears. I hurried to pick it up, took the other end of the string and tied it to my pocket button, and put the key in my pocket.
ほら、ただいまーって。マスターキーさんも寂しがり屋だから、お仕事で使った後はすぐお家へ返してあげましょうね。こういうお友達を少しずつ増やしていけば、ベアトリーチェ様もだんだんいたずらはできなくなりますよ。
Jangle. Thud. When break time was over and I stood up to see what I should help with next, I felt a tug, and the key ring with the master key fell to the floor. Once again, I had left the master key on the side of the sofa, and forgotten it was there. The instant I stood up, the string pulled on it and it fell to the floor. Without Kumasawa-san's spiderweb charm, I would probably have left that master key lying here again. The master key left all alone would have been led away by the witch and disputed. Phew, that was close. Wait a second. Okay. I'm thinking of something out here, something that is completely bonkers if you are to think of it realistically. But again, it's Umineko, so we're going by its own rules and such. Cause let's think of it this way. How would a key disappear from a locked room? Like, one read could say that, oh, the key was not on that person. However, if you were to tie the key to a string, like outside of your body, if you were to have the key on a string, like hang on your cloth, and then let the key follow you outside the room, like a dog or something, like as if you were having like a dog on a leash right over here. Would you technically say that the key is on you? Not really. So one can say that the key is no longer in the locked room, And neither was the key on that person when they left the room. And yet, the key just completely escaped. So that will be your solution to how the key disappeared from that locked room. Eh? And once again, I heard the master key, who had almost been left alone, cry and tell me that he wanted to go home. I'm sorry. Come on, let's go back home to my pocket. Yay! I'm home. Tadaima! Back at last. Thank goodness. I almost got pranked by the witch again.
なんと、まあ。糸で結ぶとは面白い真似を。
All of a sudden, I heard a wild, shocked voice from over my shoulder. It was a voiceless voice. It was a voiceless voice, a witch's voice, the kind you cannot hear unless you try. Ah, okay. I guess that's your description for a voiceless voice. Beatrice?
そうであるぞ、我が友よ。ぼんやりとまた鍵を置き忘れるから、それでからかってやろうと思っていたら。
It's a spiderweb charm that Kumasawa-san showed me. It seems to work very well.
悔しいが効き目はあるぞ。とても触れたいとは思えぬ。そなたもカミソリの刃に指を当て、横に滑らせたくはあるまい？
Oh. Okay, so I guess that is another interpretation of why magical entities such as a god or, demons and such wouldn't be able to touch the spider web. That's because this trick that Yasuda is using with the string and such goes against, it basically solves the problem with the pranks that Gap keeps doing. I mean, I can even contend with that. Therefore, Gap cannot even touch that. Not in a literal sense, nor in the metaphorical sense. Huh, okay then. That's an interesting interpretation there. Ooh, that's a scary example. My finger hurts just thinking about it.
しかし、よかったではないか。また鍵をなくしたと夏日に怒られずに済んだぞ。わらわのおかげだな。感謝せよ。
Why?
わらわが腹立たしかったからこそまじないを覚えたのであろう。そのまじないでそなたは鍵をまたしても置き忘れるといううっかりをこうして防げたではないか。つまりわらわのおかげも同然ということよ。感謝されるのも道理であろう。
Yeah, you do have a point. I really don't like it, but she does have a point. Because of all the trouble Beatrice caused me, I took Masasan and learned the charm from her. Actually, I mean, okay, in Umineko it makes sense, I guess, but realistically, you wouldn't think that. You wouldn't think you're a perpetrator for actually upgrading your home security. You would think the security provider for this, not the criminal that broke into your house like multiple times before. You don't thank that person. So yeah, I don't know about that one, Cop. If I didn't have the charm, I would have gone to my next job and left the master key here. If that happened, then surely I wouldn't have been able to find a key, and it would have been a big mess.
こういうのを一罰百回という。わらわは友人としてそなたのミスを過剰にいたずらして思い知らせることで。
Again, Umineko, I'm gonna let it slide. But imagine if a criminal actually came to your house and told you, you should thank me for magnifying your mistakes. I guess. I guess it's similar to how, maybe you guys know this channel called Lockpicking Lawyer. They specialize in trying to go through locks and, lockpicking them and such. So those videos can be used as a way for companies to learn of their mistakes and such. They can be seen as educational videos and such for companies to do better in making their locks.
こうしてそなたを立派に教育したというわけなのだ。
I gotta think that Kumasawa-san is the one I should be thanking, not you. Yeah, Yasuda's thinking a little bit here when it comes to that.
やれやれ、魔女とはつくづく感謝されぬ家業よ。
Anyway, I win this time. Okay. I need to get back to work now.
よかろうとも我が友よ。今回は勝ちを許そうぞ。されど、わらわは諦めが悪い。この負けを取り返すべく、以後さらにますますにそなたのミスを探そうと伺い続けるであろうぞ。心せよ。そそっかしいそなたが置き忘れる小道具などいくらでもある。
Yeah.
それらすべてにタコ糸を縛るわけにもいくまい。
Like, for a broom, you actually get yourself I don't know. It's kind of like having those holsters for your guns, but instead you have one that you attach to your own body, and you put your broom on your back, similar to a sword. Actually, you can have something like that. And Spiderweb Charm isn't the only one I have. I also learned to take the home charm. I won't let you have your way anymore.
どの程度そなたがやれるものか拝見させてもらおうぞ。それにしても、なんとも晴れやかな笑顔を見せおって。魔女が来るのは笑う角でなく泣きっ面がふさわしい。もう休み時間は終わっているぞ。せいぜい今日も先輩たちの足を引かぬように仕事に精を出すがよかろう。
Sure. Today is Sunday, and the weather is wonderful. I better do my best.
せいぜい励め。そうそう。レイネの機嫌が朝から悪い。
Reine? That character, like the second character, isn't that? Like I'm forgetting. I feel like that is similar to the On character that I've seen recently.
目を合わせぬ方がよかろう。それから水難の層が出ておるぞ。水の入ったバケツの近くでは常に注意するがよかろうぞ。
Oh.
そなたのこと、きっと我が期待を裏切らず、バケツをひっくり返して叱られてくれることを心待ちにしている。
Thank you, Beatrice. Back when I could not yet see her, I simply hated this prank-loving witch. But now that I could talk with her, it seemed to me that she was not all bad. Of course, I felt no need to be grateful to her. The witch Beatrice despises boredom, and subsists on mocking the misfortune of others. Humans and witches are different, incompatible beings, and yet it felt as though we could become friends. Of course, she was still a witch. I could not afford to be careless. However, not being careless is a very good thing. Using charms and tricks to pay attention, so that her pranks would no longer work on me, was not a bad thing by any means. And those techniques would be useful for my job and my life, even without the witch's pranks. Yes, this witch called Beatrice would go to any lengths to make a point. I learned that it was possible to build up a friendship through verbal abuse.
の日から目に見えて変わりましたよね。
いろいろなおまじないのせいかな。
ですね。あの子は本当に律儀な子だから、私の教えたおまじないをしっかり守っているようでしたとも。
いちいちタコ糸で縛って、あるいはいちいちお家へ帰るって。
ええ、時折口に出してやってました。まるでお道具とおままごとをしてるみたいで、とても可愛らしかったですよ。
子供みたい。
子供でしょ。
大人になら同じ言い方をすれば伝わりますけれど、子供は本当にいろんな子がいて、いろいろな言い方があるんです。それをちゃんと見つけてあげれば、ものは上手に教えられるんですよ。
怒られる方が覚える子、褒められる方が覚える子、いろいろですものね。
近所の子にちゃんと物をしまわないと妖精さんが隠しちゃうぞって脅したこともありましたっけね。その妖精があの子の場合は魔女になったというだけの話。
しかしなんだか運命的な話だね。
だって熊沢はこの子がベアトリーチェの子だって知ってたんでしょ。
ええ、知っていましたとも。
ベアトリーチェの子に魔女ベアトリーチェがいたずらするから物をちゃんと片付けるようにって教えるなんて、なんだかおかしいですね。
だからあの子が物を魔女に隠されていたずらをされると言ってきた時、思ったのです。これはきっと亡くなられたベアトリーチェ様が魔女になって自分の子に物を片付けなさいと教えに来ているに違いないと。だからあの子にはそう教えるのが一番だと思ったのです。
物を置いた場所をすぐ忘れるとかすぐなくすとか、そういう悪評があったのに、それを払拭してからはどんどん明るくなっていきましたね。
弱点は克服することで強みとなり、自信となって人をたくましくしてくれるのです。あの子のそんな日々の小さな成長が、それはもう実の孫のように可愛らしかったですとも。
源氏様、お疲れ様です。
皆大掃除ご苦労だった。普段使うことも少ない客室だが、いつ何時大切なお客様を止めることになるやもわからぬ。清掃もまた寸分の気の緩みもあってはならん。
無論です。使用人一同心得ております。
そうあってほしい。見回ったところ、これを拾った。これは誰のであるか。
Genji took a master key ring out of his pocket. Uh-oh. Apparently, someone had dropped their master key. All the servants swung around to look at me, the usual offender.
なーに？またやす？
I mean, what, she forgot the string on the key? Or rather, it could be someone else's. Maybe Yasu still has her own keys on her.
そんな決めつけはいけませんよ。
私はもちろん持ってるわよ。こんな大事なものを落とすわけがない。みんなは？
持ってます。
持ってる。ほらヤス、あんたじゃない。 この間奥様にきつく絞られたのにまだ分かってないの？これだからあんたは。
いつもの我ならば冷たき目線を集めただけで非のあるなしにかかわらず萎縮して謝ってしまうだろう。しかしもう我は違う。だから誇らしげに雲の糸を引くそれを高々と掲げるのだ。
ほう、落とさないようにという工夫か。
And there you go. Yeah, so yes, that still has her keys. So I mean, who else could it be?
良い心がけだ。
Genji-sama's face was as expressionless as ever. However, those were unmistakably words of praise. Expressionless as ever. That's how I always knew Genji. With the least amount of sprites. I mean, I'm joking, but maybe that would be possible. Even to this day. I feel like I have like 3 or 4 sprites in Genji's folder. Still.
そうです。もう落とさないんです。だっておまじないがありますからね。
That's fine.
我は誇らしくうなずき満面の笑みを浮かべるのだ。この日この時この瞬間の誇らしげな体験は我の幼少の記憶に忘れがたい1ページを刻むこととなる。されば源氏が見つけたる鍵は誰のもの？
There was only one servant who hadn't raised her key. As she muttered, "It has to be Yasu's key. Of course it's not mine." And fished him in her pocket. Her face went pale.
日々の仕事に寸分の気の緩みもあってはならん。だが時に失敗はある。それを咎めぬが己を顧みず仲間の失敗を決めつける態度は到底褒められたものではない。
申し訳ありません。
The older servant turned red and hung her head. Behind her, though no one else could see it, was the witch.
我が友はもはや同じことは繰り返さぬぞ。何しろわらわが虎視眈々と狙っているのに一向に隙を見せぬのでな。しかし残念。こやつが鍵をなくしたのなら早速いたずらをしてやればよかった。
Please don't prank people other than me.
え？何か言った？
No, nothing.
してやったりと思うつもりはないけれど、どんくさいといつもバカにされている我がようやく胸の晴れた一日であった。この日を境にようやく我は後宮家の使用人としての生活に慣れたと自覚できるようになるのである。
褒められると自分は認められたって気持ちになるよね。
大事なことだ。人の成長に欠かせぬ。
人は成長するとどうなるのかしら。
まず余裕が生まれる。それまで本当にこれで正しいのかと怯えながらしていた仕事が自信を持ってなせるようになるのだ。
確かに気楽になれば余裕も生まれるね。
余裕が生まれるとどうなるのかしら。
日々を楽しめるようになる。源氏風に言えば気を緩ませることができるとでも言おうか。
気を張りっぱなしじゃ疲れてしまう。それは良いことだね。
ってことはそれってつまり
サボれるようになるということ？
サボるといえば聞こえは悪い。しかし要領よく仕事をこなし、余った時間で日々を楽しむことは決して悪いことではないぞ。そういう時間は人間を豊かにしてくれるものだ。
そういえばゴーダはよく仕事の合間にクロスワードパズルをしているね。
余った材料で勝手に創作料理を作ったりもしてるわ。
適度に遊び、気分をリフレッシュさせるのは効率上も悪いことではなかろう。創作料理も遊び心と仕事の融合と言える。あの源氏とて誰も見ていぬところでは程よくサボっているはずだぞ。
I mean, I'd say that that would be the case for when he cooks and such, but I doubt that. Like, he can be a bit lazy, I think, from what I remember.
テレビを見たり、主の酒をくすねたり、小難しい本を読んでいたりしているわ。
Oh!
あのゲージが
要はうまく仕事の合間を縫って要領よく遊ぶということだ。過ぎれば気の緩みとも言われよう。しかし仕事と遊びのメリハリがつけられるようになって初めて人は一人前になるのだ。つまるところ、仕事だけで精一杯なうちは半人前ということよ。
じゃああの子は仕事の合間に遊ぶということを覚えたってこと？
あの生真面目な子がサボりを覚えるなんてちょっと考えづらいね。
交流を覚えた。親切にしてくれる熊沢との仲を深め、本の貸し借りとその感想を語り合う関係を得た。
我にも学校にて友人はいたが、仕事の都合もあり友情を深め合うには至ってなかった。気取らぬジェシカも親しくしてはくれたが、夏日の厳命もあり一緒に遊ぶこともできなかった。そんな我にとっていつも母のように優しくしてくれる熊沢は最も親しい存在であった。
孫ほども離れた二人のこと、駆け回って遊ぶわけではない熊沢の趣味に興味を持ったのだ。
熊沢の趣味って何かしら？
本だ。意外かもしれぬが、あの熊沢なかなかに推理小説を好んでおった。
どんな本か関心を持つうちに自分も読んでみることに。
Mystery books. I was thinking that maybe, again, based on my previous ideas, that Shannon became a fan of mystery books because of Beller. But it could be Kumasawa as well. I don't think I've heard before of the knowledge of Kumasawa also being a fan of mystery books. Feels new to me when I hear this. In which case, it could be Kumasawa.
その通りよ。推理小説は読みながらに語らうのもなかなかに楽しい。すでに答えを知る熊沢にしても、若き知性がどのような推理を見せるのか聞くのはさぞや楽しかったに違いあるまい。
Yeah, I guess there is definitely some enjoyment in hearing other people share their thoughts when the other person already knows the answers and such. Hell, we are going through this with you viewers.
無論いきなり熊沢の読む難解なものから入りはしなかった。
Cause I don't know, something tells me that 95%, like 99% of you who are watching me go through this have already went through this. Like, I don't know how many, like, that many people who are going through this series who when it's their first time. I feel like maybe there have been like 2 or 3 that I've seen, but other than that, I'm sure that most of you who are going through this have already went through Umineko and want to hear my thoughts on this, which, yet again, I am very grateful for. And speaking of being grateful, I would be even more grateful if you can give this video a like and subscribe and all that stuff. And, you know, I do also have like a coffee page. If you feel generous and share like a few bucks for the content that I make, it would surely make my day, that's for sure. So, yeah, there's that.
まずはおすすめを聞き、学校の図書室から探してきて読んだ。使用人室にも持ち込み、休憩の合間などに少しずつ読み進めた。そして新しい推理が浮かぶたびにそれを熊沢に話し、すでに答えを知っている熊沢はニヤニヤと笑いながら我の推理に相槌を打つ。それが我にとっての楽しい時間だった。
お風呂行かないの？浴場の時間終わっちゃうよ。
Yeah, just a bit more. Another one of the figures just disappeared.
すっかりミステリー好きになっちゃって。あんまり熱中して読んでるとまた興奮して寝つけなくなっちゃうよ。
According to Kumasawa-san, the culprit has already appeared, but I don't have a clue who it is.
それどんなお話？
It starts with everyone receiving an invitation to a small island. No boat is coming to pick them up, and one by one, they're being found dead in a way that's connected to the nursery rhyme. And each time, one of the figures disappears. It's pretty interesting. Almost like it's a crime happening on Rokkenjima.
それすごく有名な推理小説だよね。
Oh?
最後犯人がメッセージボトルで真相を告白するまで完全犯罪だったんだっけ？
Is there such a murder mystery that is similar to what Yasuda described?
すごいよね。
Shh, shh. Spoilers? I'm enjoying myself, so don't spoil me. Go take a bath now. I'll go by myself later.
はいはい。じゃあ後でね。お風呂忘れちゃダメよ。
Shana picked up a change of clothes and smiled amusingly as she left the room. I probably won't be able to read the whole thing tonight. Even though I know that, I just keep turning the pages, unable to find a good place to stop. My new joy, the mystery genre. Yeah, there is that feeling that you have no idea where to stop, and you just keep going and going. Either it's because you don't really find a good spot for you to stop, or because you enjoy it so much. Another game of thinking and theorizing. And also talking about it with Kumasawa-san. All that left me enraptured.
そなたもすっかり本の虫であるな。まあ、熱中して寝不足にでもなってくれれば。わらわ。
We definitely cannot have that. I better find a place to stop soon.
わらわの生まれた太古の時代には推理小説なる娯楽はなかった。そなたの肩越しに読ませてもらっているが、なかなか面白い読み物であるな。
Beto, who do you think is the culprit?
今読んでいるその本の？
Yeah. Who is the center of the message bottle, I wonder?
孤島に犠牲者を呼び寄せし犯人であろうが。
There are only 10 people on this island. And the sender of the message bottle is unknown. 10 people. I wonder if we are referencing that other Agatha Christie mystery book that I bought like a year ago. I just didn't continue it. I completely forgot about it. But it has like multiple names. I think that now the name is And Then There Were None. I still have to continue that. I only read like 50 pages from it, and I have to continue it. And Then There Were None. But originally it was by a completely separate name, which I'm not gonna say it publicly because it's, you know, for those of you who know the book, you know what I'm talking about over here. But there are 10 people involved in that murder mystery, and it kind of depends who is the culprit. I didn't even get to the part where I didn't even get to the part where people got killed or anything like that. It was still exposition, and you know, everyone's settling in to this new mansion. Was it? I think. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to reread the book from top to bottom and see how it's like. But I wonder if this is referencing that? I don't know.
島に10人を閉じ込め、どこか遠くでのんきに餓死を待っているに違いあるまい。
That's not right. He or she is on the island. They are one of them, one of the 10. And definitely, like if we go by Nox's rules, it has to be someone that we know from the start. I just don't know who.
なぜに島には10人しかいないと決まっておるのか?
And that's just how it is. Since if you don't trust that, what can you trust? Or it's just one of the assumptions of the mystery genre? Or...
島の主であろう? 隠し部屋に潜んでおるのかもしれん。あるいは、わらわと同類。1000年を経た魔女かもしれぬぞ。いやいや、たかだか10人を殺すのにこの手間では1000年は経ておらぬな。
And yet here we are, 7 episodes later.
この魔女、せいぜい495年程度しか生きていまいぞ。
What a random number. Oddly specific. 495. Locker rooms do appear a lot in mystery novels. And books often use a phrase like, it can only conceivably have been done with magic to describe them. And here I am, with a witch right before my eyes. It's a complicated feeling.
密室殺人とは面白いものであるな。オチを読めば、それは人間小説、すなわち推理小説となる。しかしもし、オチを破いて失わせれば、それは魔女小説、すなわち幻想小説となる。
That's an interesting way to look at it. So, you're saying that there's only a razor-thin margin between human novels and witch novels when it comes to mysteries.
トリックがあれば人間小説になる。なければ魔女小説になる。そなたが読むその本の最後のほんの数ページを破り取るだけで、そやつをアンノーンとしてわらわに列する魔女とすることができるわけだ。
That might be surprisingly wise, coming from you. What would have happened if the entire story ended at, say, episode 6? That surely would have been something. Although it didn't it didn't really feel like quite an end to the story, like a fitting ending. I'd say that a more fitting ending for Umineko, if we were to go by that logic, it would be episode 4, really. Yeah, it really ends on a sad note. But at least it would feel like a finale, since it was all about Beatrice and Balor. They were the ones to end episode 4, so I'd say it's more fitting, I guess. And, well, now we are in the question. We are in the answer arcs. I mean, I guess you could say that if you were to rip the entire answer arcs and just leave the question arcs, that would surely be something to ponder on. Like, you would still try your best to like, answer everything to the best of your abilities with just question arcs. But then, without answer arcs, a lot of stuff would be missing, and I just cannot imagine Umineko without the answer arcs as well. Without what Balor and Beatrice went through, without Erika, yeah, I cannot imagine it. I cannot imagine Umineko without this stuff happening. So, yeah, on one hand, you can say that, okay, you can, for the sake of a hardcore mystery that you want to challenge your reader, you can just end it earlier, but do I really want to? I am perfectly fine here, just sitting in this room and talking about this stuff with you, Yasuda, and Beatrice. I mean, if it were me, I would have had like 10 more episodes after this. With whatever the fuck you want. As long as I'm here, I would enjoy it for the rest of my life. But, yeah. And the story of Umineko has to end at some point, sadly. And there's like 1 episode and a half left.
この世の闇はすべて我ら魔女のものよ。さすればわらわは全世界古今東西すべての推理小説に犯人として君臨できようぞ。
Except if you reason it out right and find the true answer, then which is done for.
推理小説とやらはやはり面白い。これは実に愉快な思考のゲームであるぞ。
That's right. This is a mental game. You fight against the book, make a theory, and then have debates to battle friends who have also read the book.
いや、魔女と人間の戦いでもあるぞ。わらわの密室殺人という名の魔法を許すか否定するかの。
And it is a way for the author and the reader to create a relationship through the book. Similarly to what we discussed before, and what Virgilia mentioned to us in the recent episodes and such.
ミステリーという名のチェスである。
So, I'm not reading a book alone, but playing a game against you.
いかにも。先ほどシャノンが言うにはこの話。ラストではメッセージボトルによって真相が明かされるというではないか。つまり、それまでに物語の真相を暴くことができねば、そなたの負けということだ。
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it is as it was described before. It is a game. It has to be fair. There has to be like fair. Yeah, it has to be like fair for both sides, for human and witch. With the message bottle being shown, like having the answer. We don't know the answer yet, but since the book confirms that the message bottle has the answers to everything, that means it's like a confirmation to tell us, hey, this mystery is solvable. So you don't have to be afraid. Trust me on this one. Like, once again, in like a relationship.
何しろメッセージボトルがたまたま目につくところに漂着したから良いもの。もしも割れて沈み、誰の目にも触れなかったなら、それは完全犯罪であり。
Except, you know, in the case of Umineko, those message bottles are not really answers. Unless, well, the reader doesn't see them as answers, but I wonder if Angie actually read more than we did. Because it's not like the story ever let us read the entire message bottles and such. We only read what was described in the credits, which... Holy mother of God, it has been such a long time by now. Have we even had like any of that stuff in the recent credits for episode 6? I don't remember if there was such a case for episode 6. If we had like a message bottle for the credits. Well, there was definitely for episode 1 and 2, that's for sure. I'm gonna have to look back.
すなわち、人間には不可能。魔女の犯行ということではないか。
No, that's a fun way to look at it. A battle between me and the witch. Which begs the question. In Agatha Christie's mystery books with Hercule Poirot or Miss Marple, is there like a witch that I should be worried about? Yeah. I mean, it's fun to think about it like that. You know how in a Great Ace Attorney there is you can actually have like a companion whose name is Sherlock Holmes. Like they are literally Sherlock Holmes but in fictional form. Like it's like an OC. I wonder like thinking of this stuff is like creating your own OCs for the real life murder mystery stories that you can read. You can think of your own witch that you're combating whenever you're trying to solve like a Hercule Poirot or Miss Marple or Sherlock Holmes story. That would certainly be interesting. Yeah. I really like thinking of it that way.
これよりわらわは、そなたがそれを読み終えるまで、495年の魔女アンノーンであるぞ。そなたに我が孤島殺人のトリックが見破れるかな？
I have formed one theory. You want to play with me, don't you? I've been reading books so much, you've gotten lonely.
そうとも言う。
Incidentally, the game battle and I played with this book ended with my defeat. Damn it. In the end, I wasn't able to build a satisfying theory, and I had to learn the truth from the message bottle. Man. Can you even imagine? This could very well be the origin of Beatrice's game boards in Yasuda's mind. Holy mother of God. Luckily, it did manage to drift into human hands. If it had sunk to the bottom of the ocean, as Beto had suggested, I would have had no way of knowing the truth. In other words, I would have been forced to accept that the sender of the message bottle was a witch. Mystery. I once thought it was just a genre of novels. To think that it could so easily become a fight between witches and humans, truth and fantasy. I was instantly enraptured by this new game. As the months passed by, I read through all the mystery novels in the school library, and started to read mystery novels for adults. I discussed them with Kumasawa. I discussed them with Shana. I played my game of theory chess, the fight between witches and truth. How enjoyable those days were. Oh, I am one, yet many. Here's to the fun game of the mind that enraptured me. Nice.
第4章新しき日々。
The months and years stood by. In my new, more colorful life, I smiled at the spring sunshine peeking through the trees, gazed up at the column of summer clouds, enjoyed the piles of fallen leaves in autumn, and played in the winter snow the few times it did fall. As the days passed on, one after another, there was a considerable change to my environment. That was a complete rotation in the servants from the gospel house. There weren't specific grades like in school, so there was no rule saying how long a servant could work before quitting. Each servant made their own decision about when they would graduate from Rokkenjima. Some of those who couldn't stand the environment would quit in as little as 3 days. After all, life in Rokkenjima was strict. It was also strict in the gospel house, of course. But there were a lot of Rokkenjima only rules. And Natsu, the one who supervised the servants, was also very authoritarian. It was probably easy to feel constraint. The constraint feeling and the money is sat on opposite sides of the scale that he used to decide the time of their graduation. And sometimes, someone from the Ushinomiya family would use their influence to secure someone a new job, encouraging them to spread their wings and start a new life. The cycle usually lasted 2 or 3 years. No one decided this, but it was one of the goals most servants shot for, an unspoken rule. However, I was an exception to that rule. I continued to live as a servant while going to school in Nijima. That year, all the gospel house servants quit at once. It wasn't at all rare for friends to quit at the same time as each other. All my fellow servants from the gospel house graduated from the island at once, leaving only me behind. Of course, I hadn't been on particularly good terms with them. On the contrary, it was annoying to be treated like a kid and called Yasu all the time. Even when new servants had joined, the older ones got them believing that Yasu loses things all the time. So things had still been unpleasant even then. So I guess Umineko is telling me that there wasn't really any connection made between Yasu and the servants, like the stake servants. Makes me wonder. Unless... Those unpleasant old servants, as well as the ones who started at the same time or after I did, all quit at once. The Ushinomiya family had no quarrel with those who left. Those servants were easier to handle in the first place. The gospel house servants were only accepted so that they could be trained. So all the servants except for me left, and no one tried to stop them.
じゃあね、ヤス。あんた、物をなくしたりするんじゃないわよ。
I don't lose things anymore.
じゃあね、奥様の言うことよく聞くのよ。後から来る仲間に迷惑かけるんじゃないわよ。いまだに謎よね。どうしてヤスはここに推薦されたの？それを言ったら、いまだに奥様がヤスの勤務を認めてる方が意外だわ。
逃げ出さない分だけ根性があるってもんだ。しっかりな、ヤス。
I hate being called Yasu. At the very end, I finally said the one thing I'd always wanted to say to them. However, they basically ignored me and just picked up their things and left. Unless, hold on a second. We haven't actually seen all of the stakes. I mean, we've only seen Lucifer, Belphegor, Leviathan, and Satan. I thought that it was all of them at the same time, but you know, it kind of makes me think that this next batch of servants are gonna be like the ones remaining from the stakes: Mammon, Asmodeus, and Beelzebub. And they are considered younger. Yeah. I think that I do remember that Asmodeus and Beelzebub at the very least, they were called, like, they were younger. And I guess it makes sense based on their personalities and such. They are the more childish stakes of the group and such, so yeah.
みんなとはついにお友達になれなかったね。
Yeah, which is a little bit surprising, to be quite honest. But I wouldn't even want to.
うん。向こうもそうだったろうし、おあいこだね。
Unless, hold on, let me think of it. Let me think of it this way. Maybe, like, again, if I'm to think of my previous theories and connecting Yasuda to Shannon, Beatrice, etc. If I'm to think of it this way, maybe Yasuda never became friends with the real-life counterparts of the stakes, of the the persons that influenced / inspired the creation of the stakes. Maybe the stakes that we know, they are Yasuda's creations based on the want of how to explain this? Keep in mind, my first language is not English, so sometimes my brain can be a little bit mush when it comes to explaining some stuff. But maybe the stakes are the friends that Yasuda wanted to have. Beatrice uses the stakes and would more than likely even consider them friends as a what-if possibility, that Yasuda did want to become friends with the stakes, it's just that the stakes were so difficult to handle that Yasuda couldn't. And the stakes now in these games, they are a creation of Yasuda's want to have become friends with those older servants, but couldn't. It was their wish. So yeah, maybe we can think of these servants as not accomplices to any murder or anything like that, but rather as what-if friends in a different timeline and such. In that aspect, it also kind of makes sense for Beatrice to be the leader of the stakes, because, well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it's not just that Beatrice wanted to be friends with them, but also the stakes serving Beatrice, it is a way for Beatrice or Yasuda to finally feel superior to those servants from the old times. So that's why the stakes are serving under Beatrice / Yasuda as some sort of a payback or something. It kind of reminds me of that one time in episode 3, was it? Yeah, I think it was 3. It was after episode 2 when Kanon beat the demon goat, but then the stakes appeared and just decimated Kanon. well, in episode 3, you had Lucifer and Kanon fight each other. And then Lucifer got defeated, and I think from what I remember, Beatrice was laughing in the face of Lucifer for being defeated by Kanon. Maybe that was Beatrice's or Yasuda's way of feeling relieved, or feeling a little bit of enjoyment out of Lucifer being punished that way for those years when what was the name of Lucifer the Servant? I don't know, like Lucifer the Servant right over here. This was a way for Beatrice and Yasuda to feel better after all those years of suffering because of Lucifer the Servant. Because Lucifer the Servant was definitely the more bossy type and would probably make a lot more trouble for Yasuda and such. So yeah, Lucifer would feel a lot more pain in the third game because of this. So yeah, it is an interesting way of looking at this.
あの人たちのことはもう忘れちゃおう。もうお互い何の関わりもない。だから心に留める必要もない。
Yeah, you're right. I felt just a bit disappointed. I was never able to get them to acknowledge that I become a fully fledged servant who could take care of myself.
人は最初の印象をいつまでも引きずる生き物だからね。だから仕方がない。あなたがどんなに素晴らしい人間に成長しても、彼女らはきっといつまでもヤスと呼び続けてあなたをバカにしたと思うもの。そんな人たちに認めさせようと思うなんて全然意味のないことなんだよ。
Again, I'm asking this. How come you, Shannon and Yasuda didn't become best of friends? Just asking. Again, Shannon is like the sweetest of hearts. Like, how can you not like her? She's like the best. I want to hug her so much. So yeah, Yasuda, why didn't you become friends with Shannon? Again, because of my previous ideas and such. It's not necessarily that you're becoming friends with Shannon, but Shannon is something completely different in your eyes. But, you know, just asking. Yes. Yeah, you're right, Shannon. I'll completely forget about those people.
それがいいよ。あなたには私や熊沢さんなどの素敵な友達がいるじゃない。
Yeah, there I go.
そして新しい使用人の人たちの前では今度は一人前の姿を見せてあげればいい。
Shannon is exactly right. I regained a sense of confidence and pride that I hadn't felt since that day when I held the key with a spiderweb charm upon it. I am now the most experienced Fokuyan servant. You know, that is technically right. Oh, there's also Shannon over here. But besides that, you're basically the most experienced here. That's gotta count as something. The new servants who come will still probably be older than me, but I need to teach them the ropes as the more experienced servant. Genji-sama, I've been told me to guide the newer servants. Okay, so I don't know exactly how many years have gone by at this point. I'm gonna say like 2 years, maybe 3. I'm just gonna say 3 years, I guess. I don't think it matters here in this particular case, which would make Yasuda 12. Uh-oh. 12, 13. We are getting closer to that one moment. Well, I guess we shall see if Yasuda is gonna reach that kind of moment, if I'm right. Okay. I'll give it my all.
その息だね。一緒に頑張ろう。
Yeah. Which kind of makes me think, though, Beller has not left the family by this point. So, before... Hey, Asmodeus. in maid outfit. It makes me think, okay, so in 1980 was when Battler left the family, but before that, he must have visited the dimension, like, he must have visited Rokkenjima as well. Yasuda probably encountered Battler by this point as well, I would assume.
よろしくお願いいたします。ベルネと申します。
Did it?
よろしくお願いします。
Alright, girls. Okay, so yeah, before I was thinking that all of the servants were serving at the same time, like all 7 stakes, but no, it was just those four servants that we've seen plenty of times. And the newly arrived servants looked a bit frivolous. When I first joined the Ushirimiya family, I was incredibly nervous. However, I couldn't see any trace of that nervousness on these girls.
ええ、基本的には成績が優秀で貧困法制な子が選ばれます。
どうやって選ぶの？誰が選ぶの？
理事の先生方が来て面接をされるんです。他にも日頃の素行とか。
じゃあ先生の前でだけいい子ぶってても合格できちゃうってことも？
まあその先生が見て良いと判断されれば合格することも。
福音の家よりやってくる子たちはいつだって個性的だった。
Okay, what the hell was that comment there that Shannon made? Hold on. As long as they acted like good kids in front of the adults, they could pass. Well, there were times that they passed because the adults thought they looked suitable. Looked suitable? What the hell does that mean? Shannon?
それが使用人としての日々の中で研磨され、やがては後ろ宮家の使用人の名に恥じない立派な姿に成長していくのだ。とはいえそれを促すのは先輩使用人たちの役目。今や我だけが古参である以上、彼女らを立派に導く責務があるのだ。
Yeah, and I feel like Asmodeus and Beelzebub, they're like, I feel like they are more open-minded and they're cheerful and such. Like, they wouldn't be really harsh on other people. So, if they were to listen to, if there were stakes that would definitely listen to Yasuda and would not, you know, hurt Yasuda and such, it would definitely be Beelzebub and Asmodeus. So I think that Yasuda got it good right here. About Mamon though, I guess we shall see.
新しく来た子たちはどんな感じだった？
もちろんエリートね。貧困法制な。
奥様や源氏様の前ではそうだったと思います。でも目上の方がいらっしゃらないときはちょっと不真面目だったみたいで。
Actually, never mind. Scratch that. I feel like they will cause even more trouble to Yasuda than I was thinking. I don't know what I was thinking before. I was thinking that they would be easy to for them to listen to Yasuda, but
アスネさん、お道具は使うたびにちゃんと台車に戻してください。
え？はーい、ごめんなさい。
As an experienced servant, I also gave them a warning. Berune-san, you shouldn't set your key down in place like that. You'll lose it.
なくしません。私、置いた場所は絶対忘れませんから。
When I first arrived here, the older servants would often tell me off just as I was doing now. And they would probably have been far more mean and obnoxious about it. I hated that, so I tried to be more gentle when admonishing them, but they wouldn't take me seriously. Listen up. You know there's a witch living in a mansion, don't you?
おお、ベアトリーチェよ。
Oh.
それ似てる。まさかシャノンちゃんも。それ、シ
信じてるわけじゃないですよね。
I mean, you Beelzebub, you are blondish and such, and with that kind of hair. Can I put you in the box as well? Just in case. Something tells me that I'm gonna need you inside this box right over here at some point in the future.
いえ、本当にいるんですよ。
Now I'm just gonna go around and just keep asking, hey, wanna be in my box of Beatrices? Like, I'm just gonna go around and meet like blonde people, like blonde girls and such, and see if they wanna be inside the Beatrice box. Hell, I could just go in like other games, not specifically in the Umineko. Maybe I'm gonna meet somebody in the Higurashi who's gonna be blonde and such, that would also be Beatrice.
物をほったらかしにしておくと魔女がいたずらして隠したりするんですよ。
It's true. It got me into trouble many times.
魔女が物を隠すなんて。
そんなことあるわけないじゃないですか。
魔女なんてそんなの
いるわけないっす。
いるわけないです。魔女なんて。
いたずらだと思ってました。いや、そう思っていられるうちが気楽だった気がします。
魔女ベアトリーチェは確かにいたと思う。
私は信じない。
ベアトリーチェであったかはわかり、でも人間じゃない何かは確かにあのお屋敷にいたんじゃないかと思います。
人間じゃない何かというのはベアトリーチェの可能性もあると思う？
バカバカしい。
私もバカバカしいと思いたい。
あれはきっとヤスのいたずら。仕返しでしょ。
私も最初はそう思ったけれど。
いたずらでは説明できないことがあった？
必要というか、具体的には
どんなことがあったの？
置いたものがふと振り返った拍子にはもうないんです。
ヤスが隠したんでしょ。
最初はそう思った。そう考えるのが自然だった。でも違和感も覚えてた。あんな気弱な子がそこまでえげつないことするかなってずっと思ってた。
どんなことがあったか話して。
鍵束がなくなった時には私が見てない隙にヤスがひょいってどこかに隠したんだろうと思えた。でも鍵束から一つの鍵だけが消えてて、それがありもしないところから出てくるなんて